Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our Discord server where we post multiple times a day. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. So Cardano is currently going sideways, which should not surprise you, considering the fact that we did this multiple years in a row. And first, let's talk about what we did in 2024. So as you can see, when December started, we actually had a pump. We went from about $1 to about $1.30, and then we had a correction. And we are still in this correction. We are still in a downtrend right now. And maybe we will get another low. I'm not sure yet, to be honest. I mean, the support level is being respected, so we'll see if the price reacts to the 0.618 extension. Like I said, if it doesn't, we will most likely hit about 72 cents by the end of the year. And then I'm expecting Cardano to start pumping like crazy in January, because it has cooled off on the RSI and also because Cardano usually goes up in January. Now let's talk about what happened in the previous years, and let's start with 2023. So when December started last year, Cardano actually had a short-term pump, just like it had this year as well, and here we went up from about 37 cents to about 67 cents, and look at what happened after that. Cardano did absolutely nothing for the entire year. So yes, it went up for the first half of the year, and then absolutely nothing happened. And matter of fact, we actually had a correction in January, but keep in mind, we only had that correction because, well, this was a fourth wave move down, so we needed a correction, and we needed some kind of ABC structure to the downside. But even then, after that, after going down for the entire month of January, at the end of January, we started pumping and, we still went up from about 40 cents to like 50 cents, which may not seem like a lot, but during that time, we actually went up about 20% in 10 days, which is still a lot considering the fact that this was not even an altcoin season. Now let's continue with 2022, so let's see what happened here. In 2022, after December started, as you can see, we did absolutely nothing, and then at the end of December, we actually had a correction, and look at this. The correction lasted until January. When January started, Cardano started going up again, and it went up quite a lot during that time. Cardano actually went up about, let's say about 60% in a matter of 30 days, and this was actually during a bear market, which is very, very interesting. So as you can see, Cardano usually goes down or sideways in December, no matter what year it is. Now let's continue with 2021, which was the end of the bull market, the previous bull market. Here, as you can see, December actually saw a pump when December started, so we went up from about $1.50 to about $1.70. And then a few days later, we had a huge correction on the chart. And I mean, that lasted a couple of weeks, and then at the end of December we had a pump, and then we went down again. So this was just sideways price action again, and of course we went down in January because this was the beginning of a bear market. But even then, if you look at what happened in January, after we went down to about $1, here we actually had a short-term pump, and we went from $1 to about $1.60, which was a 50% pump in a matter of a week. And of course we went down after that, but keep in mind this was a bear market. Now let's continue with 2020, which was a halving year, just like this year right now. So let's see what happened here. I have already talked about this. I'm not gonna go too much in depth about this, but all you need to know is that here we did the exact same thing again. So yeah, we went sideways for the entire month. We did absolutely nothing. And then when January started, Cardano started going up. And as a matter of fact, it continued going up for a long time after that. That was actually the beginning of the altcoin season. And if you look at how much Cardano went up in January, Cardano went up about 126%. Now, of course, if you take this high right here, it went up about 150%. But if you take this right here, which happened on the 31st of January, Cardano was up about 126% on the monthly chart after already going up about 100% in November right here. And also, what we did in the previous cycle, it looks very similar to what we are doing right now, because right here we also had a pump in November, and then we went sideways in December. And if we are copying what we did here, then a pump should happen very, very soon. And also, if you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, which I'm gonna do very soon, not right now, If you look at that chart, that will also tell you why this is very likely to happen. Now, before I talk about that, let's see what happened in December of 2019, because here we also did the exact same thing. And is this a coincidence? Well, maybe. But as you can see here, in December we also had a correction and we also did absolutely nothing for the entire month. And look at what happened once 2020 started. Would you look at that? In January we had a pump from about 3 cents to about, let's see, about 6 cents. So this was a 2x in a matter of 1 month. And it's the exact same thing I have already talked about. So Cardano usually goes up in January and it actually goes down or sideways in December. That always happens for some reason. Now let's continue with 2018 because this is also important. So this is a bit more interesting in my opinion. Here we still went down for the first half of December. So it seems like every year Cardano likes to go up in the first half of December. As you can see here, we had a huge correction. It might not seem like one, but we went down from 4.5 cents to about 2.7 cents, which was a deep correction. I mean, this was a 40% drop, just like we're doing right now actually. And look at what happened after that. We actually went up in December and we continued going up in January, and then in January we went sideways. But keep in mind, this was a bear market, so you cannot really compare this to what's happening right now. However, let's continue with 2018. 2018 is the exact same thing again, although this is a bit more interesting. So when December started, Cardano pretty much went sideways for the first about, let's see, 13 days. And then we actually had a pump, and after we had the pump, we had a correction. So as you can see, each cycle, well, each year, we get a big correction on the Cardano chart. Here, it actually dropped about 58% in a matter of 3 days. And what happened after that? Cardano did absolutely nothing until January, and then in January we pumped again. Now of course we also pumped at the end of the year, so maybe there's a chance that we pump by the end of the year as well, but we'll see what happens with Bitcoin. Keep in mind, I'm still expecting Bitcoin to get to about 120k by the end of the year, which is a bold prediction, but I will keep it. I'm not gonna change my predictions like many other YouTubers are. I'm gonna stick with what I said, and I still believe Bitcoin will hit 120k by the end of the year. Maybe I'm gonna be wrong, maybe I'm gonna be right, who knows? I mean, I have been right about 100k so far. As you know, or maybe you don't know, I've been predicting 100k by the end of 2024 for a very long time now, and I have been right. And we got to about 108k, so I'm gonna take that as a win. But I've also been predicting that Bitcoin will get another pump by the end of December, because that's what usually happens with Bitcoin during a halving year, and if that does not happen, then this will obviously be different, which should not really be bad, because if you look at the daily RSI, we are no longer overbought, and this is actually looking very good, because even though we are no longer overbought, I mean, the price did not really go down that much. Now, of course, it went down like 15k, but keep in mind, this was a new all-time high, so of course we needed to cool off. We have cooled off, maybe this is the low for the fourth wave, we'll have to wait and see. And I'm still expecting Bitcoin to hit new cycle highs very, very soon, so it doesn't really matter what happens in the short term, to be honest. What matters and what you need to look at right now is the Bitcoin dominance chart. As you can see, Bitcoin dominance is currently above the bull market support band, but it's actually struggling to stay above it. As you can see, it's just going sideways. It has been going sideways for the past 5 days now. And this has never happened before. I don't know if you watched my previous videos, but I did tell you that in the previous cycle, we never really got above the bull market support band after we topped and after we had a cross on the bull market support band. In this cycle we did, so this cycle is obviously not the exact same as the previous cycle, but that does not mean that we will not get an altcoin season. I'm still expecting one to happen very, very soon. As you can see, in the previous cycle, it took about 48 days for Bitcoin dominance to start dropping after we had the cross on the bull market support band, and in the 2016 cycle it took the same amount of days. So here it also took about 48 days for Bitcoin dominance to start dropping after getting a cross on the bull market support band, and here we actually went up and we went above the bull market support band during that time, and we tested it. We got rejected multiple times, and that was it. That was the beginning of the altcoin season, exactly 48 days after the cross. Now, I'm also going to repeat something that I said a couple of weeks ago, and that is the fact that about 240 days after the halving, Bitcoin dominance goes down, and that's the beginning of the altcoin season. So as you can see, in the 2020 cycle, exactly 237 days after the halving, Bitcoin dominance stopped, and this was not the beginning of the altcoin season, but this is when Cardano was actually going up like crazy, so keep that in mind. And if you look at the 2016 cycle, the exact same thing happened. 234 days after the halving, it was confirmed that Bitcoin dominance stopped and it started going down. Is this a coincidence? I don't know, but keep in mind, there have been about 240 days since the 2024 halving, and Bitcoin dominance has already started to drop right here, and we'll see if it continues dropping. But keep in mind, if we want to copy what we did in the previous cycles, and I'm talking about the bull market support now, if we want to copy what we did in the 2016 cycle and in the 2020 cycle, after we had a cross on the bull market support band, even if we get rejected right now, it will most likely continue to go sideways until January 10th, and then we will start the altcoin season in my opinion. If we don't, then something else is playing out, but to be honest with you, what we are doing right now looks very similar to what we did in the previous cycle, and of course there's a chance that we hit a new cycle high by the end of December, like we did in the previous cycle, and then we start dropping on the Bitcoin dominance chart. But even if we do that, it's not gonna be the end of the world, because during this time Bitcoin is still expected to go up, so no matter what happens here, it's still the exact same end result. I'm still expecting Cardano to do very well in this cycle. I have been predicting this third wave move for a very long time now, since we were down here pretty much, and yeah, everybody was calling me crazy, they were saying Cardano was going to new cycle lows, and yeah, that did not happen, because it would not have made sense for that to happen. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, so yeah, I'm still watching for higher prices, and I'm still watching for Cardano to get to about $5 in this cycle, maybe $6 to $7 or so. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our Discord server. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.